One. Hello, once again, everyone. I'm your host, Ray Shasho. Welcome to another edition of Interviewing the Legends. Well, for the first time ever, the Impellitteri catalog has been made available worldwide. Global Rock Records has officially licensed the full catalog running between the years 1987 and 2010. In celebration of this occasion, Global Rock Records are releasing Wake the Beast, a 3 CD set on September 30th. This collection is the answer to many prayers, as despite being a fully American metal outfit, many Impellitteri followers had to source expensive import copies from Japan, where Chris is a huge following. Now Wake the Beast brings the cream of the crop globally renowned guitarists together in one place. Wake the Beast encompasses the Impellitteri story from 1987 to 2010, and what's more, every song was personally selected by Chris himself. This set then represents nothing less than what he feels are the highlights from some 12 different releases, whether it's a track with a favorite Rob Rock on vocals, or even the legendary Graham Bonnet behind the mic. One thing can be sure, the intensity never lets up. Wake the Beast is the first Impellitteri career-spanning compilation released worldwide, featuring not only the well-known album tracks, but rare Japanese released-only bonus songs, B-sides, and more. Don't sleep on this one. To date, Impellitteri have sold over 2 million records worldwide and have performed on the same stages as Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, Journey, and the list goes on. Burn Magazine voted Chris Impellitteri the best rock guitarist ever. Impellitteri has been featured on multiple magazine covers, television, radio, and internet shows, and in the glorious past featured on MTV, VH1, and Headbangers Ball. Please welcome American lead guitarist, founder of the heavy metal band Impellitteri, Master Shredder, Chris Impellitteri, to Interviewing the Legends. Hello, Chris.
Hey, man. Thank you for having me. And that was a very lovely welcome. I'm not sure how much that's true, but thank you.
You know, it's very cool. I call you Master Shredder. You know, of course, that's the villain in the Mutant Turtles. You should have a solo album dressed as Master Shredder, you know, and some references to the Turtles or something. You with a guitar as Master Shredder. That'd be kind of cool.
Gotta love the Ninja Turtles, man.
Yeah, man. I want to take care of some housekeeping first. Somebody says, say hey to Chris for me. He always called me Bawana for some reason. Do you know who that is?
Say that again?
You call him Bawana.
I don't know who that is. Forgive me.
I'll tell you later in the show. I think you guys work on an album. You were on one of his albums, as a matter of fact.
And wait a minute. And what do I call him?
Bawana? B-U-W.
I don't know who that is, man.
Huh.
And I can promise you, I've worked on that many records. I've rarely ever allowed anybody to use me on their albums. I've always been my only thing, but I have to think about that for a while.
Okay, he was on some of your albums.
So we're talking bass player, drummer?
Let's see, he's a guitar player.
And he's been on my albums? There's been no other guitar player in history of Impellitteri but me.
Huh.
So I honestly don't know what this is.
All right, well, we'll give you the answer later.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyway, you were officially declared as the fastest guitarist of all time by Guitar World Magazine 2008. Now, how did that come to be? How did you get so fast? How did you learn to be such a fast shredder like that?
Well, first, let me be very clear.
Okay.
There is no fastest guitar player in the world. That's silly. It's it's like saying that I can talk faster than everybody else. Who cares?
Right.
You know? I mean, to be honest, I think that started when we did the Impellitteri. Oh, and I'm going to back up for a second. I know a lot of people have a really difficult time saying this band name. Most people think Impellitteri. They think it's a disease. They don't even know it's a metal band. And so the way I explain it to people, when you say the name, think of it in 3 parts.
Right.
So the first part is impel, like I compel you, right? I compel you to do something. So impel, and then like you're about to say it. So impel, and then like a girl's name, Terry. So Impellitteri. That's how the name's pronounced for most people that don't know that.
Right. Right.
So now going back to where you were going as far as the speed thing, I'll be honest, when I was a little kid, a lot of people, especially our fan base, they know this. When I was 9 years old, I lost both my mother and father. They died.
Right.
And I was raised by my grandparents. God bless their soul. They were awesome. And they gave me a life, and they got me into guitar, and they kind of thought, if I didn't have something to fall back on, some kind of utility or tool to express myself, I'd probably end up out on the streets in trouble,
Sure.
So basically, I think what happened was, as I started playing guitar, within the first year, I fell in love with it. I was addicted to it, but I was also dealing with a lot of frustration in life, right? I go to bed one day with a family, and I wake up the next day, and I'm an orphan, So that frustration, that anger somehow started to come out through my guitar playing, And I think it was kind of like that energy. It's on with this. So with my solos, it's kind of an expression, right? Me venting of that anger that I had as a child, right?
Right.
And so you hear things, especially our very first album, which is called the Impellitteri Black EP. Songs like Lost in the Rain, Burning, I recognize I'm playing very fast. And I think where it began, I believe it was Kerrang! Magazine, who at the time, they were the biggest heavy metal magazine in the world. They were out of London, and Kerrang! Magazine, they gave us a 5 out of 5 star review, I believe, for the Impellitteri Black EP. And I think they also called me the fastest guitar player in the world, which, by the way, was not true. But it got crazy because after that, all of a sudden, all these other guitar players were coming out claiming to be the fastest. And it was ridiculous. It became like this contest, which, to be honest, I really wanted nothing to do with. I actually, and it was really a statement to be humorous, like, a joke. On our Stand in Line record, they asked me to do a quote, and I went, oh, here's one. And I literally said, I promise my solos will only get faster. And it was literally a joke because I was trying to make the point, how much faster can I possibly go? I can barely see my fingers move, It was like, so anyways, I think it began with that whole thing with Kerrang! Magazine. And look, I recognize even to this day, I tend to play very fast often, but it's just part of who I am, It's that range. I can't help it. I just try to make sure I make certain, though, especially now that I'm older, that it has a melodic structure to it, that it fits the song. And if anything, hopefully it improves the song. It's like having a really good icing on your cake, if that makes sense.
Right.
So that's kind of the story of the speed thing.
What I'm noticing a lot more these days, there's a lot of progressive metal bands that are, playing very, very quickly, and it's kind of a new age in music, progressive metal. I mean, you could fit into that category in a way, and with some of your music. What do you think of progressive metal?
I love progressive metal, but when you're talking prog metal, I mean, well, let's use the bigger bands. So are you talking about like Dream Theater?
Dream Theater, right.
Love Dream Theater. I think it's a great band.
Yeah.
Now, look, I mean, for Impellitteri, it's always been really difficult, especially in the media, for people to classify us because they don't know what we are. I mean, if you listen to our first album, which again is the Impellitteri Black EP,
right,
we were bordering almost like thrash with, fast technical guitar soloing, but really melodic vocals, a lot of screaming, almost like Queen kind of choruses, fast double bass drumming. And we certainly couldn't fit in with the hair bands, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it was really challenging. But at the same time, we weren't thrash because we had melodic vocals, right? So, to this day, it's always been difficult for people to kind of categorize us, I think. And the prog stuff, I mean, we could easily do that. I mean, we're all very accomplished musicians. Playing in odd time signatures is no problem whatsoever. It's actually quite enjoyable. But I got to be honest, as much as I do like listening to prog, a lot of times I can't get past 2 or 3 songs on a record
Right.
because it's so mathematical. I get bored. I'd
Yeah.
rather put on an AC/DC record, you know?
Right.
and that's the only thing that kind of makes me deviate from going down that path.
Yeah. Some of your the guys you suggest that are kind of heroes to you, I guess, that you followed over the years. I guess John McLaughlin, Al Di Meola, of course Eddie Van Halen. Yeah, I could see that in your playing styles. I'd still love to see you play like an Al Di Meola or John McLaughlin and do that progressive stuff. You know, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, that's really taking, and I play acoustically all the time. You know, one rule I've always had is if I can play it on acoustic, then I know I can do it on an electric.
Right.
Because with electric guitar, a lot of people can hide behind a lot of effects.
Yep.
And so for me, I always practice acoustically, and I can pretty much do the same thing on an acoustic. So playing kind of like the Paco, McLaughlin, Di Meola kind of stuff, that would be a lot of fun. Maybe at some point when I get older, I will do it. Well, I better hurry up because I am getting older.
Hey, you're about my age, so am I.
Nice.
But you know what? I really admire the guitarists. You can really tell really who's got the the talent when they play equally great acoustic and great electric. I play electric guitar, but I know acoustics, it's tough. It hurts your hands, man, to really get good at it.
Yeah, well, because you're using much heavier gauge strings.
Right, exactly.
Right, so there's a lot more tension, and you really have to work on your picking technique. I mean, that's something I've kind of had strength with the right hand, So I've been pretty fortunate with that.
Yeah, yeah. You develop these huge calluses, which probably help your playing.
Sure. Yeah, your fingers stop bleeding at some point.
Exactly. But I admire the guys that can get up there, and I told Tom Rush this. I admire the guys that get up there with an acoustic guitar, a story, and just sing. And that's it, with no huge band behind them or anything, because that's pretty. That's pretty cool just to play acoustic and do that. Not that I love the electric guitar players, but
and I'll tell you, the one reason I give people like John McLaughlin, Di Meola, and Paco the credit, because a lot of times people seem to credit either. I'll say it's my era of playing, right? The time period. So we come out. The first guy who really gets the credit is Yngwie, right? And then after Yngwie, I think it was like Paul Gilbert and Tony McAlpine, another fantastic player. There was me. There was Vinnie Moore. There was a guy named Michael Badio. And, we all were like the guys doing a lot of the shred stuff in the late 80s. And we got a lot of credit for doing that or developing it or bringing it to people's attention. But the reality is, no. Listen to John McLaughlin. I mean, just go John McLaughlin, 1973. Use that as your search query for YouTube, right? And watch him. He's playing at some outdoor like jazz festival in front of a few thousand people, just sitting by himself, playing acoustic, shredding. I mean, insane playing in 1973. This would be 10 years before any of us even would come on the scene.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's really the forefather, followed by Di Meola and Paco.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you 100%. They always mention these guitar players, the best guitar players in the world. Of course, they mentioned Hendrix and Page. And, my top 5 or whatever, the top 2, I always think Ritchie Blackmore, because Ritchie Blackmore does so much more than just electric guitar. I mean, the stuff he's doing now, with Blackmore's Night, is incredible, I think. And he doesn't get the recognition like he should.
And one thing that I really learned from Blackmore is writing great riffs and writing really strong songs before the solo. Right. The solo, like I said, again, it's only the icing on the cake. Without a good song, you have nothing. And that's one thing I think I've really taken from Blackmore. You've got to write a really strong, great, addictive riff that people can remember, something that they, it doesn't leave their mind. It's not like it almost becomes annoying, right? So if you can write a good riff and then write a great song, it sets up space for an amazing solo. And so I think Blackmore really was a master of that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to mention the new album, the new 3 CD compilation album, Wake the Beast. which is going to be released September 30th. I think it's great. It's a great selection of all the great songs you guys got. And I wanted to pick a couple of songs off of it that I really enjoyed. Of course, "Victim of the System." That's one of my favorite songs. Um, I do have one of my all-time favorites is probably "Texas Nuclear." Love that track.
I get that from a lot of people. Yeah. Yep.
I can hear, to me it's a rocker. It takes it's not full-fledged metal song or anything. And I like when you do the rocker stuff. When it's you can tell the difference. But that's a great song. And another one, of course, is "Stand in Line." Of course, it's got that intro, which reminds me of AC/DC a bit. But that one and On, which is a beautiful track, which I think you should probably do more of those, the slower tracks once in a while. Because you're good at it.
Yeah, well, thank you. And remember, it's not just me good at it. It's Rob Rock.
Yeah.
He's half the band.
Right.
I'm just the guitar player. But, I appreciate that. And we do hear that consensus. The songs you just chose, we hear a lot of positive feedback on those.
Right.
Texas Nuclear Boogie, is really like, look, so Van Halen is probably my biggest influence. Early Van Halen, like the first record.
Yep.
And so I listen to songs like, you can hear like the Shuffle, "I'm the One."
Right.
Really, that's a huge part of kind of like the Texas Nuclear Boogie sound, as well as ZZ Top.
Exactly.
When I was a little kid, I love the heavy side of ZZ Top. Most people don't even know about it.
Me too.
And it's funny when I actually hear the song, when I listen to Texas Nuclear Boogie, especially in the beginning, I go, "Oh, here comes Satriani." It has that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
But the funny thing, it was really more intended to be more like a ZZ Top, Van Halen kind of track, and a lot of people have really enjoyed it. So it's humbling. I'm glad people like that.
I love it. I really do. And the songwriting, like on "Stand in Line," I like too. Like the mother's son, as perfect as his pompadour, a Spanish-American lover, heading from the east into West L.A. He has to dance La Bamba. So sophisticated. It's the French cologne. Where'd you get these lyrics, man?
That's the brilliance of Graham Bonnet.
Yeah.
Look, Graham Bonnet is, he's a legendary singer,
Yeah.
Especially in his early years. Like when we did "Stand in Line," he was in the latter part of his 30s. So he was still pretty young.
Yeah.
And, he had come out of Rainbow, which they were a legendary rock band, especially in Europe. And, Graham has a very unique writing style. That's the one thing that I do like about "Stand in Line," is it was never really my favorite Impellitteri record. And the reason being is Impellitteri is a much heavier. We're a hardcore metal band, regardless of the time. So we really try to create more of a record that would complement the way Graham writes and sounds, And now in hindsight, the one thing I really love about it, especially when I hear songs like "Stand in Line," it's so different from our body of work, right? A lot of the Impellitteri music, like Venom and all the recent stuff, is all fast double bass drumming, just crazy playing, where "Stand in Line" is based on a really strong foundation melodically, right? And then Graham has a really fascinating way of writing lyrics. So it's Graham, man. I couldn't tell you where that came from except talk to Graham. I will tell you that was the first song Graham and I wrote together.
Really?
Huh. I remember we actually wrote that in his house. Yep.
Wow, it's a great tune. Love it. I heard your influences from Alec DiMeola and John McLaughlin in "Fly Away." Am I wrong about that? But I did kind of hear some of those influences.
That's a good question. I don't remember. It's been so long since we tried "Fly Away."
Yeah.
I don't remember. And I'll tell you, I listen to so many other musicians and artists.
Right.
And believe me, if someone influences me in any manner, I will show it and use it. I'll give you a great example.
Right.
If you listen to the opening track, "Victim of the System," which comes from, we did an EP called "Victim of the System," and it was really our intent to show our love for the heavy side of Queen. Right? Like Queen was this hardcore rock band in the beginning,
Yep.
And if you listen to "Victim of the System," what I hear, man, the first two notes, it sounds very much like we're about to go into Stone Cold Crazy. right? And then
Yeah.
we go and then we deviate, we do our own thing. But it was really, it's almost like another homage to another great artist. And I always loved Brian May, and so when I listen to my old music, a lot of times I go, yeah, what was influencing me on that? But Fly Away, it's been so long, I don't remember, to be honest.
Yeah, I love the early Queen stuff too. I remember Ogre Battle, that kind of guitar riff they had in that track. The early stuff was great, man. It was really, really good stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The track "The Young and the Ruthless" kind of reminded me of Queen.
Oh, yeah. I love Young
The
and
intro.
Ruthless. Matter of fact, it's one of my favorite solos. And people, I'll tell you a little secret. So
Uh-huh.
this is just for the guitar players,
Right.
right? I mean, I think it's got such a great groove. And Rob just got a great, I don't know, his vocal performance is really amazing on that song. And it starts out, it's kind of cheesy the way we started out with the chorus, right? It's
Yeah, I
almost
like it.
a little
Yeah.
goofy. And then it hits you with the metal.
Right.
But people don't, well, maybe people are not aware of this, but they will be after I tell you. So if you listen to the intro part of the guitar solo for the first probably like 3 or 4 seconds, it's literally I'm playing Eruption intentionally. Listen to it. So the next time you hear the solo, you go, wait a minute. It's like, and it starts in there.
Yeah.
It's literally my tribute to Ed. It's like, I love you, dude.
Very cool.
Yeah.
There's so much great music out there. You can't help but, steal a couple licks from great bands. I mean, everybody does it, Why not?
Listen, I know a lot of people do it, but they don't be fast up to. But I listen. I always love like sharing our influences,
Sure.
and celebrating, and it's almost like our way of saying, yeah, thank you. And by the way, as soon as you tune a guitar to A440, right, or you play a scale, there's only so many notes in a scale. And by the way, if you're using A440, you're using conventional tuning, you're already copying someone.
Sure.
Someone developed it, we did.
Yeah.
So.
If you're playing a simple bar chord, you're copying somebody.
Exactly.
Every punk band there is.
It's how you reorder all the notes,
Yeah, exactly. Wake Me Up was another cool tune. Very cool intro, kind of a spacey rock tune. I like that.
Yeah, thanks. I like that one too.
Yeah. Falling in Love with a Stranger reminded me of Kiss for some reason.
It's funny. That was my attempt to really bring Graham back to his glory days of Rainbow, almost kind of like an All Night Long kind of vibe,
Yeah.
I mean, Graham's vocal on that song, the power of his voice is insane.
Yeah, he's great.
I mean, Rob Rock is insanely talented as well.
Right.
He's got that tremendous range, but it's fascinating, working with these guys because they have such different styles, Rob is like this angelic singer who's got an amazing, tender vibrato, hits these outrageously, crazy high notes with the screams. And you got Graham, who sings very, very scalular, if that's proper English. He sings using scales, and his voice, I mean, most people have obviously not worked with him personally in a studio or been in a room with him, but when Graham sings, and I've worked and been around some amazing, vocal heroes like the Dios of the world, guys like that.
Yeah.
Graham Bonnet, I don't think I've ever heard a singer that can be as loud and as powerful as him. I've been to the zoo with my girls when they were young.
Right.
I remember the lions roaring. If you've really ever been to a lion, you hear it roar. It's terrifying. That's Graham singing. He can literally. You're like, this is human.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. I don't think I've ever heard another singer be able to do what he can do with that power.
Yeah.
So.
Very, very cool. Yeah. But by the way, you got 2 beautiful daughters. I've got 5. I've got a daughter. I've got 5 grandkids. I've got 3 granddaughters, and I've got twins, identical twin girls. So, girls awesome. Are wonderful, aren't they?
Yeah, I love my girls, man.
And they get everything they want from dad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Big time.
Big time, course, exactly.
They're professional adults now, so they're all good.
Yeah. How old are they?
Ashley, I think, is 32. She's an attorney. She's a lawyer.
Okay.
And then Brittany's in medical. I think Brittany's 29 now. I was 23, 24, or somewhere around.
Are you a grandpa yet?
No.
Really? Wait till that happens. Wow.
No, but I'm coloring the hair like a grandpa.
It's going to be great. I can tell you, man. I love the album. 3 powerful CDs of great music. I love the selection you picked. I'd give it 5 stars, man. I mean, people are going to love it.
Wow. Wow. Thank you, man.
I think
That's
people are
really
going to
nice.
love it. Yeah. And I'm going to promote the hell out of it for you.
All right, we're backing up for a second. Yeah,
Okay.
but listen,
No
I
problem.
mean, I, I mean, we're honored and humbled by that. I mean,
Sure.
we never know. I mean, the way we chose these songs, if you care,
Hmm.
over the years, especially in Japan and in Europe, we're fortunate enough to play some very big, large festivals, and in
Sure.
Asia, we headline. We can even do stadiums,
Yep.
those type of venues, which is it's pretty surreal. It's insane. And when we play concerts, you know, we see the fans singing every word, right?
Right.
And we kind of get a sense of what they want to hear, what they like. And over the years, too, kids would like rip a song from a CD and upload it on YouTube or whatever. So we'd read the comments, and
Hmm.
after over time, you just start reading comments like the good ones are going to be like, oh my God, this is the greatest metal band ever,
Right.
that kind of silly stuff.
Right.
And why aren't they more famous? And we think, okay,
Yep.
that must be a good song that hit it, that struck a
Sure.
chord. But then if we read something, we're going, oh my God, this band sucks. Why do people like them? Probably not the right song. So we kind of use that philosophically. It was kind of the way we kind of figured out, well, how do we choose the songs?
Right. Exactly.
And that's kind of how this came about. We
Sure.
basically, let's let the fan input really dictate what we should be doing or not doing, for
Right.
music.
So
that's
what about touring? What's going to happen with touring?
2023, I believe we're targeting for the summer.
Okay.
We're in the middle. We're always doing records. So this is, I think we're already a couple of years, well, from the pandemic, but we're about a year into this new record, writing and recording. We probably still have another 4 or 5 months to go. And then I think the record labels, we're with JVC Victor for all of, Asia and Japan and all those places. Mm-hmm. And then we're with Frontiers for United States of America and Europe.
Right.
So we owe them records. My guess is they'll probably release them middle of 2023 or towards the summer. And then we'll go out and we'll definitely do touring in the summer. What countries we're playing yet, I don't know yet.
Japan, but, for
sure. Oh, we always do Japan, yeah. We do Japan, yeah. And we've, over the last few years, we started doing the big festivals in Europe. Like we did Rock Fest with Iron Maiden.
Yep.
And, it's crazy. We do these festivals and late when they have us, they tend to put us really close to the headlining slot. I mean, it was like Maiden. I think it was around Anthrax, and I think we were before Anthrax or vice versa. I forget. But we do some really big festivals, and even our last show we did in Asia, we did our first headlining show in Korea, which we'd never done.
Wow!
And it's very crazy because our bass player James Pulley, he couldn't go. He had visa issues. So my buddy Rudy Sorzo, right? Rudy actually learned our whole set, came in, rehearsed for like 2 weeks.
Right.
And then went and we did the show with Rudy, and it was crazy because I remember flying to Korea going, God, I hope it's not like, 300 people show up or something, right?
Yeah.
And we basically walked up on the, we basically walk up the stairs, up onto the stage. And as soon as we could see over the stage in the audience, we're like, oh my God, remember Rudy and I both looked at each other. It was like 30,000 people came to see us.
That's crazy.
Huh. So the band it's pretty crazy what we've been able to accomplish in other markets. America has been a tough story for us.
Right.
So we're desperately trying to figure out a way to do America. Yeah. And hopefully we cross that bridge in 23. I hope.
It happens a lot. It's like overseas bands like Status Quo. They can't make it here anymore. I'm friends with Susie Quattro. Same thing. She's huge in England. Susie can't do too much over here in the United States anymore. But
it's man. I mean, we've gone and done like we did some rehearsal shows about I guess about a year before the pandemic when we were going to do Europe. We did stuff. I think we played in Connecticut, New Jersey, and New York City.
Right.
And the venue's pretty full except for New York City. I remember the other venues were really full. A few years back, we actually did a secret show in LA in Los Angeles at the Whiskey A Go-Go.
Yeah.
It was we basically tried to keep it really secretive. Right. Like it was basically a rehearsal.
Yep.
And dude, I remember thinking, I wonder what we could do in America. And it's funny, we were pulling up for sound check around 2:00 in the afternoon. I remember getting there and there was a line going around the block trying to get in. And we weren't going to play till 9:00 or 10:00 that night. It was 2:00 in the afternoon. And we thought we could probably do the States and get away with maybe playing 2,000 seaters as our guess.
Right.
But we're not sure we can do that in every market. And that's the problem because promoters, it's risky. And I get it too, because it would be terrible if we're in a 2,000 seat venue and 30 people come.
Exactly.
And that could happen. We just don't know.
Graham's still with Alcatraz, right? Are they still touring?
No, unfortunately, no. Graham left Alcatraz. They have another singer. Yeah.
Huh.
So as far as I know, Graham's doing his own thing. To be
Okay.
fair, I think Graham has his own version of Alcatraz. I think.
I think you're right. I think I did see that. Yeah. Maybe you guys can do a, double bill or something for a few shows. That'd be kind of neat, you know.
Yeah.
how much how much time do we have left? I know you're getting ready to recording.
Yeah, I've got to be in about 5 minutes. Is that enough
Okay.
for you? Okay.
Yeah, that's good. We can wrap things up. Um, I'm going to ask you a question here that I ask everybody, and I get some really interesting answers. I know some of your heroes and some guys you've played with in the past, and I want to mention Pat Torpey, who really hit hard when he passed away.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know that he was a drummer on Stand on Line, right? Stand in Line. Um, that was a big one. Why did that hit you so hard? He was just a great guy, basically, and you guys were close.
Well, I like to think because we were friends,
Right,
friends
right.
first, right?
Yep.
Pat was, look, even when I look at Stand in Line, Pat was like the father figure when we did that record,
Oh, okay.
because
Yeah.
I was this young, everybody in the band, including Pat, everybody was so much older than me, like 10 plus years, I think.
Right.
Pat was but he was an amazing, accomplished drummer, and he was really
Yeah.
good with arranging songs, and he was a great singer.
Right.
And people don't realize he played with Robert Plant of Led Zeppelin.
Yeah. That's
He
right.
played with Robert. At one point he played with the band The Knack.
Yep.
Right. He had played with some other people, and then of course Mr. Big really, I think, kind of gave him his, put him on the map as far as being in a popular band during that period of time.
Yeah.
But Pat was always this, iconic drummer. So when people watch the
Right.
music video of Stand in Line, albeit that was our touring drummer, it's actually it's actually Pat playing drums.
Yeah. I wanted to make sure everybody knew that. Yeah.
Yeah, and we saw Pat, look, where we rehearse.
Right.
I'll just say it's a secret place in LA. We all rehearse together. Guns N' Roses, Impellitteri. I don't mean to name
Right.
drop, but it's
Sure.
bands like that. Pat
Yeah.
used to be there every single day. He had his drum set there where he'd rehearse and
Right.
practice. So every time we'd be there, we'd see him constantly.
Yeah.
Just a great human being. So just
Very
a
cool.
tragic loss, really.
Yeah.
Two young men.
Here's that question. If you had a Field of Dreams wish like the movie to perform or collaborate with anyone from the past or present, who would that be?
Fair enough. So I got to be careful because when I start throwing in classical composers and talking about classical and Baroque music,
Yeah.
immediately I'm going to get compared to another guitar player. So I don't want to go down that road. But seriously, I think one of my favorite composers is always going to be Vivaldi. I think it would be a
really?
blast to
Good answer.
Yeah. Just love Vivaldi. So probably Vivaldi, Beethoven, and Grieg.
Wow.
The classical masters. Grieg, he's a metal guy.
Yeah.
He's
It's
might be a
true.
composer, but he's metal. Of course, you listen to like certain things Beethoven created. Obviously everyone knows the Fifth, but
Yeah.
that'd be it. And then listen to Four Seasons by Vivaldi or the violin concertos. Just something really unique about it. It'd be really interesting to see what they would do in today's metal.
Hey, you can do it. Do an album, classical metal.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I think it's been done, and I think I got to stay away from that path.
All right, back to the secret guy that said hello.
Now,
Chuck
you said
Wright.
he was a guitar player.
Chuck Wright.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry. You said he played guitar. Yeah.
Did I say guitar?
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Chuck Wright.
Yes, now I know what you're talking
Okay,
about. Yes,
okay.
you're absolutely right. Yes, forgive me.
Is that what he called? Is that what you call him? Do you remember that?
Actually, that was, I think, what the band were calling him. At first, I didn't know what it meant. So it kind of was a name we were calling him, I think, during the time we were doing the Grin and Barrett record.
Right.
Yeah, I love Chuck. And here's a nod to Chuck. Chuck is one of the greatest bass players I think I've ever worked with. Chuck is just, people don't realize not only is he a great player live, but he's an amazing studio musician. Amazing studio musician. So I've had nothing but the utmost respect for that guy, it's like, although Rudy Sarzo and I are really good friends too, and Rudy and I were in Animetal, the band in Japan together.
Right.
We're good friends. People don't realize Chuck actually did that. I think he did the entire, Mental Health record for Quiet Riot.
Right.
Right. And then, of course, they brought Rudy back in for whatever reasons, and then Chuck kind of, I don't know if he got the short end of the stick on that one, unfortunately, but, Chuck certainly deserved to have that kind of success because he's so good. And of course, I love Rudy. I mean,
Yeah.
Rudy deserves that success as well. But
Yeah.
you know, but Chuck is a fantastic player.
He's got a great album out now, by the way. It's really good.
Yeah,
It's
I
awesome.
got to check it out. He sent me a link. I haven't had a chance to listen.
It's
so busy
awesome.
with interviews and studio, and
Yeah. He's got a really good singer on that, Whitney. Whitney's awesome. Very, very good singer.
Oh, nice.
Well, I want to say special thanks to John Lappin of Lappin Enterprises for arranging this interview with Chris. Purchased the new 3 CD compilation album, Wake the Beast, by Impellitteri. Is that Italian? That's got to be Italian, right?
It is, yes. It's from my grandfather. So actually what people don't know, especially when there's a conflict of war right now, I'm 3 parts of everything. So biologically, on the father's side, 100% English, right?
Okay.
But on my mother's side, my grandmother, 100% Russian. My grandfather, 100% Italian.
Wow.
So
nice
really, Impellitteri, not the disease, but the band. It's definitely Italian heritage, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I got some Italian in me too, but I'm mostly half Cuban and half Syrian with some Italian in there. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm a Cuberian.
I love it. Well, Rudy Sarzo, man, he's the Cuban.
Yeah, there you go.
Cubanism, yeah.
Yeah, we keep a good beat. So the album is out September 30th on Global Rock Records, and it's available everywhere, right? It's going to be available on Amazon. You can go to your website. Is it www.impellitteri.net, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The website is impellitteri.net.
.net, right.
So there's been a lot of fake sites and a lot of, I
Sure.
don't know why people do the imposter thing. That's weird to me.
Yep.
But that happens. But yeah, I mean, the record is going to be distributed globally. As a matter of fact, my wife just showed me it's available at Target. So it's Amazon, Target, everywhere, you know.
Awesome.
So,
and of course, you're on Facebook and you're on Instagram, so it's easier to get a hold of the band.
To play in that world. We're guilty. We never really embraced social media ever. We were doing so well in Japan and Europe. We were like, why bother?
Exactly.
So now our friends are like, with 8 million hits or 8 million, followers, are like, dude, you need to up your stuff to like 12,000. We're like, okay.
Chris, thank you so much for being on the show today, man. I really appreciate it. Good luck with the new recordings that you might have coming out. And of course, the tour. Let us know about the tour. We'll promote the tour and we'll hook up again right before the tour starts.
Thank you, man. And be safe, man.
I know, man.
Keep the windows boarded up and safety is key.
Safety is key. I appreciate it. We're going to hunker down. Thanks, Chris.
Okay,
Take care, man.
All right, talk soon.
Bye-bye.